Hello and welcome to our lesson on finding decimals of a quantity. Today we'll explore practical techniques that will broaden your understanding of decimals and enhance your problem-solving abilities. Here's a breakdown of our session. We'll start by understanding what it means to find a decimal of a quantity. Then, we'll demonstrate the process with clear examples applying the concept to different scenarios. Finally, we'll practice various problems to ensure a solid grasp of this new knowledge. So far, we've laid a sturdy foundation by understanding decimals and fractions, by recognizing how they represent parts of a whole and how to convert between them. Building on our previous understanding of decimals and fractions, we can now introduce the technique of finding decimals of a quantity. This method is crucial in many real-world applications, such as calculating discounts, determining measurements, and assessing proportions. For example, imagine you have £50 and want to find out how much 0.25 of it is. With our new technique, you'll be able to quickly and efficiently solve this problem. Mastering this skill opens up a plethora of opportunities to tackle various mathematical and practical problems with accuracy. Let's get started! Just like with fractions, decimals allow us to represent parts of a whole. When we want to find a decimal of a known quantity, we are essentially determining a portion of that quantity. For instance, finding 0.5 of a quantity means we want to know what half of it is. To find a decimal of a given quantity, we use multiplication. The procedure is straightforward. Step 1. Identify the decimal and quantity. Determine which decimal and quantity you wish to find the portion of. For example, taking 0.25 of £80. Step 2. Multiply the decimal by the quantity. Use the multiplication procedure, which combines the decimal and the quantity to find the desired portion. Let's do an example, finding 0.5 of £40. Simply multiply 0.5 by 40, which gives us £20. Let's dive into some more practical examples. Suppose you have £120 and want to find out what 0.15 of it is. Multiplying, we get 0.15 multiplied by 120 equals 18. So 0.15 of £120 is £18. Now let's calculate what is 0.75 of 56. Again, first identify the decimal and the quantity. The decimal is 0.75, and the quantity is 56. Next, multiply the decimal by the quantity. 0.75 multiplied by 56 equals to 42. So 0.75 of 56 is 42. Now we will be using the diagram. Using the provided diagram, what is 0.4 of 70? First, identify the decimal and the quantity. The decimal is 0.4, and the quantity is 70. Visualize the parts. The diagram shows a pie chart with 10 equal parts, so 0.4 represents 4 out of those 10 parts. Finally, multiply the decimal by the quantity. 0.4 multiplied by 70 equals to 28. So 0.4 of 70 is 28. Now we will look into a challenging case. If you need to find 0.625 of 80, how would you do it? Again, first identify the decimal and the quantity. The decimal is 0.625, and the quantity is 80. Next, multiply the decimal by the quantity. 0.625 multiplied by 80 equals to 50. So 0.625 of 80 is 50. By practicing these examples, you should now feel confident in finding decimals of a quantity, whether it's in a straightforward calculation or a real-world scenario. In today's lesson, we explored the technique of finding decimals of a quantity, an essential skill in both mathematical and real-world applications. We began by understanding that decimals, much like fractions, represent parts of a whole. To find a decimal of a given quantity, we use multiplication. This process involves identifying the decimal and the quantity, then multiplying them together while carefully handling decimal places. We demonstrated this concept through several examples. 1. Finding 0.5 of £40 resulting in £20. 2. finding 0.25 of £80 also resulting in £20. 3. Finding 0.15 of £120 resulting in £18. Through these examples, we reinforce the multiplication procedure, treat the numbers as whole numbers, multiply, and then adjust the decimal point accordingly. By mastering this technique, you can accurately determine proportions, calculate discounts, and solve various practical problems with ease. This lesson has equipped you with the tools to confidently find decimals of any quantity, paving the way for more advanced mathematical concepts and everyday applications. Watch the rest of the GCSE Maths course at Sophos Education.